Hey, welcome back to the allotment. It's the end of January now, 2022, so it's the first tour of the year, and what a gloomy day it is. I would describe today as a typical January British day. It's cold, it's gloomy, it's very overcast and dull. But despite that, there's still quite a few little gems hidden on the allotment that I'm looking forward to sharing with you. You know, we haven't done a tour since the end of November last year, so it's been a little while. And this month, the weather's been, pretty cold, as you'd expect. We've had temperatures that dip below freezing quite regularly, but nothing below sort of -3. So it's not got too cold, but it's nice because, it sends things into dormancy and it hopefully kills off a few of the bad bugs on the allotment, but probably not the aphids because those things, I don't know. It's also been quite dry. We've had probably about 3-4 weeks now without much in the way of rain. Last time it really rained was around Christmas time. So it's been, very dry this month. I'm sorry, it's a bit cold, but I actually put on a really jazzy top to try and cheer everyone's spirits, but it's too cold. It's my new nasturtium print long sleeve top, and it's got all the flowers and leaves on it, and I thought it was absolutely awesome, but it's just a bit too cold and I need my jacket on. Sorry about that. But yeah, if you watched my previous video that, if I got my timings right, has hopefully come out before this, this month has just been all about getting on with my winter jobs, getting tidy and organised before we step into the new growing season. So lots of hedge clipping and bed tidying, that sort of thing, and it's just been great to get some of those big winter jobs ticked off my list, which means the plot is looking a little bit messy, but I call it organised mess. This is just how allotment gardening is in the middle of winter. There's piles of clippings everywhere, piles of sticks everywhere, big piles of compost stuff material. I'm trying to get organised, but in order to do that, you got to make a bit of mess. Anyway, I think it's time we started the tour. So wrap up warm, grab a nice warm cuppa, and I'll see you at the gate. All right, let's step through my gate. Look at that sky. So dull. Right, well, let's have a look. This bottom left side, Grandma's border, doesn't look very tidy, but I did go around and actually tidy it up a little bit. I've got some allium bulbs in there, which I'm really looking forward to seeing come springtime. And over by the pond, I know you like to look at the pond, but there's not much to look at. Oh, there's a few leaves going in there. Should really give that a tidy soon. The dahlias over here are all tucked up for winter with all that wood chip. And this is what I mean by organised chaos. I've just got big piles of stuff everywhere. So this is where I've chopped and dropped some of the grasses and straw flowers that I grew. Spinach is still growing strong. And then this pile is all spiky things, mostly brambles and a bit of the hawthorn clippings. And in all honesty, that pile, I'm waiting for it to dry out, and I'll probably burn it because there's not a lot I can do with it. I don't have a shredder, and to take that to the recycling point would just require petrol, and it's not very nice moving brambles. If I turn around, this bed in here actually has some parsnips in it still. Not that you'd know. I might actually get a few of those out in a moment. I'm just going to take a little wander down here to the side hedge. It's been nicely trimmed now. All of the hedges are pretty much done. But this one here has a little bit of our native hazel in it. Look at those lovely little catkins. Soon to release all their pollen. Very ornamental. The strawberry cages have had a little bit of a tidy. I've removed all of the brambles that are in there, but I won't remove any of the old strawberry leaves until sort of early spring, really, because they do help protect the plants from any heavy snow that we might have. And here is where my sweet corn plants were. I've done a chop and a drop method because I haven't actually got any mulch yet. I will be mulching the bed soon with compost, but for now I'm just going to chop and drop, and that will help protect the soil, feed the bugs, give them somewhere to hide, like the ladybirds. That's the third strawberry patch there, also looking rather bare. And under the apple tree, I haven't given it a prune yet. That's my main job for February. It's quite a bit of pruning to do in February. But I've cleared underneath it, much tidier down there now. And one of the little gems is the hellebores. Oh, try and get my way down here. Oh, they're not blooming just yet. I think they're a little bit later than last year. But all of these buds will soon be giving me the most gorgeous flowers. And this one here also hasn't yet bloomed, Rihanna's Ruby. I did a video on why I've removed all of the leaves, in case you missed that one. But yeah, very soon, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, I'll have some flowers from those. And the wildlife corner is a little bit tidier, cleared a bit back. I've still got a few alliums to plant that I haven't managed to get to yet, but now that it's cleared. And this is where the blackbirds are really enjoying this bottom corner. I think they're feeding on some of these ivy berries. Let me show you those. All these berries that the birds are enjoying, especially the blackbirds and the wood pigeons. Providing that winter source of food is really important. So I do have quite a bit of ivy here. And the blackbirds are sitting in next door's hazel tree. You can't quite see, but it's covered in all those catkins. I reckon I'm going to have quite a few blackbird nests on the allotment or nearby this spring. And look at that underneath the apple tree. I've just spotted the first signs of this year's daffodils. Hello spring. Won't be too long now. The apple tree itself is covered in buds, so hopefully this year will be another good year for the apples. Soon the sap will start to rise and we'll be having lots of leaves and gorgeous blossom from this tree in May. It looks like my lupin didn't really get the memo and it's not really dying back, but we've got all this new foliage that's going to give me hopefully another massive lupin plant this year that did so well last year. And inside the shed, I'm still keeping it tidy, you'll be glad to know. So yeah, really loving the shed. One of the best things I've done is get that organised. And down in the sort of bottom corner, which I have been tidying, I know it doesn't look very tidy, but it's a lot better than it was. I've just moved my blueberry bush down here. I'm thinking about putting a couple of fruit bushes in this raised bed because I'm starting to grow more of my salads at home, and I'll be able to put some netting over it, protect them from the birds easier. But it does mean filling it with quite a bit of ericaceous compost, so just one of my thought processes right now. But what I have done is move that crate over here. It's not going to be to store my pots, that will have some compost or leaf mould in. And yeah, lots of dead wood there in the corner that will stay there for the wildlife and to make a bit of a dead wood hedge. I cleared out all of this wood from that bottom corner. I'll keep some of it. Some of it's quite rotten though, so we'll have to get rid of that. And some of the clippings that I've got to compost. Yeah, the compost bin itself is overflowing. I do need to go through that and take out anything that's going to be usable for next year. Outside the shed, well, this border has a lot of dahlias in, which I've mulched. And I planted all my spring bulbs and then found, oh, this is actually a bucket of daffodils that I haven't yet returned back to the bed. So that's a job. They'll soon be shooting up. So, And over on the trellis, one thing I know a couple of you quite often ask me about, which is my evergreen clematis, the one that's called Winter Beauty. Is it flowering? Is it flowering? No. We've got lots of buds still, but not one of them has opened just yet. But it's nice to see that, it's starting to fill out this trellis, or the old wood metal fencing, should I say. But yeah, not open just yet, guys. Not open just yet. Here in front of my raised carrot bed is where I grew a lot of my nasturtiums, and they come back year on year because they self-seed themselves absolutely everywhere. They've become a little bit of a problem, if I'm honest. I've just spotted all these seeds here in this pot. But it's really, really useful because not only is nasturtium a great one for distracting the black fly from your crops, they'll flock to the nasturtium instead. It looks great, you can eat it, but also at this time of the year I collect the dead straw-like stems, and rather than composting them, I actually keep this nice and dry. I collect it and put it in the shed, and I use it as kindling for my Kelly kettle. That's a little burner stove thing you may have seen me use to make my cups of tea, because this stuff it's like almost like grass or straw. It's really dry and just is great for burning and making cups of tea. So I'm actually going to collect this up now because I don't want it to get any damper. We've had a dry couple of days and I want to make the most of it. Whilst I was down here, I just spotted another little gem, and it's in this planter bowl where I planted quite a few bulbs, not last year, the year before, but they are still in here. They haven't been eaten by any rodents, and I can just see the signs of my first crocus appearing with their little feathery little stems and foliage coming up. And it just fills me with so much hope because the crocus are one of the first flowers to bloom here on the allotment, and they're just one of the first true signs that spring is just around the corner. You know, sort of like mid to late February time, we'll have these big, well, I say big, quite short little but wide yellow or purple blooms, and on a sunny day when they open up, you know, it just fills you with so much hope. And also, if it's a nice warmer day, then the bees might be out as well, the bumblebees, and they love to get their nectar. It's a great source of early nectar for the bumblebees. So yeah, it's just such a lovely sight to see them coming up. I should probably put these somewhere more prominent. I might put them on the table so I get to see them as soon as they're up. Also down here in my carrot bed, I've actually noticed that I've got some pansies that must have self-seeded, and they're in the bed. And when I was weeding this out from, you know, all the old carrots and some weeds, I spotted them then. So I've just let them stay where they are and see what they do. But also down here we've got the Welsh onion that's starting to make an appearance, and that grows quite quickly as soon as it starts to warm up. Continuing on, all of my bulbs of potted flowers are now planted with all of my tulips, using my special method to prevent rodents from digging them up. And I've got some miniature bulbs on here, including crocus and your grape hyacinth, your muscari as well. So they'll all be popping up very soon. These are more of the potted spring bulbs. And turning around, this is when we get to the organised chaos. So as I'm working, I'm generally putting things into piles on my spare bed. This pile is twigs to either put under the hedge. This one is full of long thin stems that I can use for building things or using as bean and pea frames. And then there's the spiky pile of brambles and another chop and drop bed just there. But my hedges are now completely finished, and I even got up in the sycamore and cut all that back as well. So I'm dead pleased, and I've pulled out all of the old wood from behind there, cut away all those brambles that were climbing over the tunnel, and yeah, the reason I put them on the beds is because it means I can still walk around the paths, get to the compost bin, and soon the paths will actually be mulched with some wood chip. This way it actually keeps the beds covered as well, so you know, you might not have a green manure or mulch on the bed, but doing just this is absolutely fine, helps protect the soil. And I didn't cover this bed. This has got the garlic in, and I just spotted the other day, where is it? I'm not going to find it now, am I? Oh, there it is. The first sign of garlic, just starting to raise its little head. So there, they're coming. Over up in the dahlia bed, they're all still tucked away for winter. it's nice that the Erigeron sort of keeps its green despite the winter months. Oh, I pulled these out of the polytunnel, my foxgloves that really need to be planted out or potted up and watered as well. It's just been so dry. I thought that it'd rain on them, but it hasn't. Oh yeah, this bed here, I've actually got some food in it. I've got my beetroot still to harvest. Some of them are really quite small. Others are not a bad size. Like this one here. How about that? That'll do. And this one, look. Oh yeah, who says there's nothing to harvest in January? Inside the polytunnel there's really not that much to see. Apart from some mess, keeping it real. The rather mouldy looking Cape gooseberry plants. Lemon tree's doing alright. And my lime needs a little bit of water. Yeah, not very great in there. Oh, there we have it. So that's the view from the top of the plot. Piles of stuff everywhere. At the end of January in 2022. Well, I've got a couple of beetroot. I'm now going to get myself... Well, I definitely want some roasted parsnips tonight. Oh, it's difficult to find where they are now because all the foliage has died back. And I know I'm not really a digger, but I have to use my fork to get these bad boys out. Hey, here we are. Now, I know that some of them aren't particularly big. I did harvest some at Christmas time, and they're quite slender, but I really like them this way. Sometimes you can just roast them whole. Oh yes, perfect. Oh, definitely going to enjoy these tonight. Oh, we've got two that have twisted together like lovers. Bit of bindweed. Oh, you're definitely coming out. Sometimes it's easy to get carried away and over harvest, but you know what, this time of the year, oh, don't break it, don't break it. I'd rather get them harvested and then freeze them, because I'm not going to know where they are anymore. The foliage dying back. Oh, brilliant. Hey, oh my gosh, look at that. It's so straight as well. What a perfect parsnip. If you can see it, I appreciate it's covered in mud. How good is that for a January harvest? I am so pleased with my parsnips, and I'm sure there's plenty more to come from that bed. I just need to dig it over a little bit more to find any hidden ones. Yeah, and especially that straight one, look at it. It's massive. So that's it for January, and next month is all about pruning for me. I'll be pruning the apple tree, pruning my roses, pruning the buddleia, and a few other things as well. So yes, I also want to get my paths mulched, and at some point my bed's mulched as well. But I'm just starting to feel really good because I've got those big jobs done, the hedges are done, and despite the piles of rubbish everywhere, it's really not going to take long to get the beds tidied and prepped for spring now. You know, things like the weeding, it doesn't really take that long at all. Oh, it's really starting to get quite cold now, and I'm looking forward to a hot cup of tea at home and roasting those parsnips because they're going to taste amazing. But thank you guys for watching and joining me despite the season, despite the gloomy weather. Thank you guys so much, really do appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next time pretty soon. Take care.